Have you ever noticed how, as you get older, people assume you have all the time in the world? Invitations come in, social obligations pile up, and before you know it, your days are filled with visits and gatherings that don't always leave you feeling fulfilled. But here's something that may surprise you. Just because you have the time doesn't mean you should spend it everywhere or with just anyone. In fact, there are certain places you should think twice about going no matter how free you are. Today, we're talking about 4 homes you should avoid visiting as you age, because protecting your peace is more important than ever. You've likely spent your life being there for others, showing up when expected, attending events out of obligation, and even tolerating environments that drain your energy. But as the years go by, something shifts. You start to realize that peace is priceless. Your time, your energy, and your emotional well-being deserve to be protected. That means setting boundaries even when it feels uncomfortable. Because here's the truth, where you spend your time affects how you feel, how you think, and even how you age. The first home you should avoid is one where you are not valued. You know the feeling, walking through the door and immediately sensing that you're just an afterthought. Maybe it's a family member who only calls when they need something. Maybe it's an old friend who never really listens when you speak. Maybe it's a place where we're made to feel like a burden rather than a guest. As you get older, you should never have to sit in a room where your presence isn't truly appreciated. Your time is too valuable, and your self-worth is too important. If you leave feeling drained, overlooked, or unimportant, it's time to stop going. You deserve to be around people who see you, who cherish you, and who make you feel like you belong. The second home you should think twice about visiting is the home of constant negativity. Have you ever walked into a place where the air just feels heavy, where the conversation is always about problems, complaints, and bad news? It's exhausting. And as you grow older, you realize that negativity is like a slow poison. It weighs on your spirit, darkens your outlook, and leaves you feeling worse than when you arrived. This could be a relative who never has anything good to say, a longtime friend who only calls to vent, or a place where arguments and drama are the norm. Life is too short to absorb the burdens of others day after day. You are not obligated to be anyone's emotional dumping ground. Your peace matters, and that means choosing spaces that uplift you rather than drain you. Then there's the home of past pain, a place that carries memories of hurt, disappointment, or unresolved conflict. Maybe it's a house where you were mistreated in the past. Maybe it's where relationships were broken, where words were spoken that still sting to this day. Walking into these places is like reopening an old wound. And the older you get, the more you realize that healing isn't just about moving forward. It's about choosing not to revisit the pain. You don't owe anyone your presence in a place that still carries the weight of yesterday's hurt. If stepping into a certain home brings back feelings of sadness, anger, or regret, it's okay to let it go. You're not the same person you were then. You don't have to go back. And finally, the fourth home to avoid is the home that tempts you to be someone you're not. Maybe it's a group of old friends who still engage in habits you've outgrown. Maybe it's a place where you feel pressure to act a certain way, pretend to be okay, or suppress your true self. As you age, authenticity becomes more important than ever. You shouldn't have to shrink yourself to fit into spaces that no longer align with who you are. If you feel out of place, if you find yourself pretending, if you have to compromise your values just to be accepted, it's time to stop going. Surround yourself with people and places where you can be fully, unapologetically yourself. Your time is precious. Your peace is priceless. You've spent enough of your life showing up where you were expected, tolerating what drained you and making others comfortable at your own expense. But now's the time to choose differently, to protect your energy, to value your well-being, to spend your days in places that bring you joy with people who truly see and appreciate you. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to feel guilty. You simply have to decide that from this point forward, your time belongs to you. And that, my friend, is a decision worth making. One of the greatest lessons that comes with age is realizing that your energy is a form of currency. Where you spend it, who you give it to, and what you allow into your space determines the quality of your life. When you were younger, you may have felt obligated to show up, to be available, to say yes even when you wanted to say no. But now you've earned the right to be selective, not out of selfishness, but out of wisdom. You have nothing left to prove. You don't need to explain why you are choosing peace over obligation, joy over guilt, or freedom over expectation. There are places that once felt familiar but no longer feel like home, friendships that once brought you laughter but now feel forced, invitations that once excited you but now feel like a burden. This is not a sign of loneliness. It is a sign of growth. The more you honor yourself, the more you realize that the places you avoid say just as much about you as the places you choose to go. You are allowed to outgrow relationships. You are allowed to walk away from spaces that do not nurture you. You are allowed to create a life where peace is the priority, not the afterthought. Some people will misunderstand your boundaries. They will say you've changed, that you become distant, that you are being unreasonable, but let them talk. The people who truly care about you will respect your choices, even if they don't understand them. And the ones who get upset, they were likely benefiting from your lack of boundaries all along. You do not need to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. You do not need to sacrifice your well-being just to make someone else comfortable. If a relationship only exists because of obligation, then what kind of relationship is it really? Think about the places you feel the most at ease, where you can sit in silence and feel safe, where you can laugh without hesitation, where the company around you feels like home. That is where you should be spending your time. Those are the people you should be giving your energy to. Life is too short to visit homes that leave you questioning your worth. It is too precious to waste on conversations that leave you feeling empty. The older you get, the more you realize that your peace is not negotiable. It is a priority. And if that means letting go of certain places, certain people, and certain expectations, then so be it. There is a deep kind of freedom in no longer seeking approval, in no longer explaining yourself, in knowing that you do not have to attend every event, answer every call, or be available for every request. You are not obligated to be anywhere that does not bring you peace. You are not required to tolerate anything that drains your spirit. You have spent enough years worrying about what others think. Now is the time to ask yourself, what do you think? What do you want? What makes you happy? The beauty of aging is that it gives you clarity. You realize that joy is found in the simplest of moments. A quiet morning with a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with someone who truly understands you, a walk outside where the air feels fresh and your heart feels light. You don't need much, just the right things, and that includes choosing where you invest your presence. Not every invitation deserves a yes. Not every relationship deserves your energy, and not every home deserves a visit. If something does not bring you peace, you do not have to entertain it. If someone does not respect you, you do not have to engage with them. And if a place does not feel welcoming, you do not have to step foot in it. You have spent too much of your life accommodating others. Now it is time to accommodate yourself. Not out of bitterness, but out of love. Love for the life you have left, love for the energy you still carry, love for the version of yourself that no longer settles for less than what you deserve. You do not owe anyone an explanation for choosing yourself. And if there is one thing you take away from this, let it be this: your peace is your responsibility. No one else will protect it for you. It is up to you to decide where you go, who you surround yourself with, and what you allow into your space. You are not too old to set boundaries. You are not too late to walk away from what does not serve you. And you are not too far along in life to choose joy over obligation. So the next time you get an invitation, the next time someone asks for your time, the next time you feel that tug of guilt pulling you toward a place you know is not good for you, pause, ask yourself if it's truly where you want to be. If the answer is no, give yourself permission to decline. Your time is yours to spend, and the greatest gift you can give yourself is to spend it wisely. There's something liberating about understanding that you are no longer obligated to carry the weight of expectations that don't align with your well-being. You are not responsible for keeping outdated traditions alive, for forcing conversations that have lost their meaning, or for pretending to be comfortable in places that no longer feel right. The beauty of this stage in life is that you have the wisdom to know what nourishes your soul and what depletes it. The only thing left to do is honor that wisdom. You have spent years investing in others, your family, your friendships, your community, and while that has been meaningful, you must also recognize that this is your time now. Your peace is a priority, and that means choosing where you go and whom you surround yourself with carefully. It means letting go of any lingering guilt that tells you that you must show up, that you must keep the peace, that you must say yes out of obligation. The truth is, your energy is sacred. It is not meant to be spent on environments that drain you, on relationships that no longer fit, or on routines that have lost their purpose. There is no shame in protecting yourself from negativity. There is no guilt in refusing to engage in conversations filled with gossip, bitterness, or complaints. You have every right to excuse yourself from the spaces that pull you into unnecessary burdens. Some people will not understand this, but that is not your concern. What matters is that you are living in a way that feels right to you, that your days are spent in places where you feel safe, valued, and appreciated, that you are choosing joy over discomfort, presence over pressure, and fulfillment over obligation. You do not have to answer the phone when the caller only brings stress. You do not have to attend a gathering where you are merely tolerated. You do not have to walk into a home where you are undervalued or spend time with those who leave you feeling worse than when you arrived. And if you ever doubt this, remind yourself of all the years you spent showing up for others. You have done enough. You have given enough. Now it is your turn to be intentional with your time, to fill your days with the things and people that bring you peace. The places you go should reflect the love and care you have for yourself. They should feel welcoming, light, and peaceful. They should remind you of who you are, not force you to shrink or conform. The same goes for the people in your life. The ones who appreciate you will never question your need for peace. The ones who truly love you will never demand that you put their comfort above your well-being. And the ones who matter will respect your choices even if they do not always understand them. Aging is not about slowing down. It is about refining. It is about choosing quality over quantity, meaning over habit, and peace over obligation. It is about knowing what you need and not being afraid to claim it. There is a version of you who still believed they had to go everywhere they were invited, that they had to answer every call, that they had to make themselves small so others could feel comfortable. But that version of you has grown, and now you understand that you are not here to be everything for everyone. You are here to be at peace with yourself. Not every relationship will last forever. Not every tradition will continue. Not every door should remain open, and that is okay. Life changes, people change, and the way you move through the world should change too. What once felt right may no longer fit. What once felt like an obligation may now feel unnecessary. Give yourself permission to let go of anything that no longer aligns with the life you are creating. There is no need to explain, no need to justify, no need to feel guilty. You are simply choosing what is best for you. You have given so much of yourself to others, and now in this chapter of your life, the most powerful thing you can do is give that same love and care to yourself. Protect your energy, guard your peace, choose where you go and who you allow into your space with intention, because at the end of the day, your happiness is your responsibility, and nothing is more important than that. This is your time, not the time to prove yourself, not the time to carry unnecessary burdens, not the time to waste your precious energy on places, people, and situations that no longer serve you. This is your time to prioritize your own peace, to wake up each day knowing that the hours ahead belong to you, not to obligations, not to guilt, not to anything that drains your spirit. You have spent too many years doing what was expected. Now it is time to do what feels right. You are not here to be at everyone's beck and call. You are not here to entertain relationships that make you feel unseen, unheard, or unappreciated. You are not here to fill someone else's emptiness at the cost of your own joy. You are here to live, to be present in the moments that bring you peace, to share your laughter with those who cherish it, to rest when you need to, and to say no without guilt when something does not align with the life you are creating. There are people who will not understand this. They will say you have changed, that you used to be more available, that you used to say yes more often. And they are right. You have changed. You have learned that your time is valuable. You have learned that you do not have to sit through conversations that leave you drained, that you do not have to walk into homes where you feel unwelcome, that you do not have to be part of environments that steal your joy. Growth is not something to apologize for. It is something to embrace. You are not withdrawing from life. You are stepping into it fully. You are choosing to be intentional about where you go, who you give your energy to, and how you spend the time you have left. You are not turning your back on people. You are simply choosing to be around those who bring you peace instead of turmoil, joy instead of stress, fulfillment instead of obligation. You are not isolating yourself. You are protecting yourself. And there is nothing wrong with that. Think about the weight you have carried over the years, the expectations, the responsibilities, the social obligations, the unspoken rules about where you should be, whom you should see, and how you should spend your time. Now think about what it would feel like to finally let all of that go, to move through your days without guilt, to spend time with people who truly see you, to visit places that make you feel alive, to wake up knowing that your time belongs to you. That is freedom. That is what you deserve. You have nothing left to prove, not to your family, not to your friends, not to anyone who thinks you should still be doing things the way you used to. The only person you need to be accountable to now is yourself. If something does not bring you peace, you have every right to walk away from it. If a relationship does not feel genuine, you do not have to keep it alive out of habit. If an invitation does not excite you, you do not have to accept it just to please someone else. This is not selfish. This is self-respect. There will always be people who expect you to be available, to keep showing up, to maintain the old rhythms of life simply because that is what you have always done. But you do not owe anyone the version of yourself that no longer exists. You have evolved. You have earned the right to choose what feels right for you. And if that means saying no more often, if that means creating more space for yourself, if that means letting go of relationships that no longer bring you joy, then so be it. Your happiness is not up for debate. Your peace is not something to negotiate. Your time is not something you are obligated to give away freely. You are not required to make yourself small so that others can be comfortable. You are not here to be everything to everyone. You are here to live in a way that honors the person you have become, the lessons you have learned, and the wisdom you have gained. Imagine how different your days would feel if you only went to places that made you feel welcome, if you only surrounded yourself with people who valued your presence, if you only invested your energy in things that brought you joy. That life is possible. That life is yours to create. All it takes is the courage to let go of what no longer fits and to embrace what truly matters. You are not too old to set boundaries. You are not too far along in life to make changes. You are not obligated to continue old patterns simply because they are familiar. You have the right to walk away from negativity. You have the right to decline invitations that do not feel right. You have the right to say no without explaining yourself. And most importantly, you have the right to choose yourself. Letting go of certain places does not mean you are losing anything. It means you are making room for something better. It means you are choosing to be intentional about how you spend your time. It means you are giving yourself permission to live life on your own terms. That is a beautiful thing. That is something to be proud of. So the next time you find yourself hesitating, the next time you feel pulled toward an obligation that does not align with your peace, the next time someone expects you to show up when you know you would rather not, pause. Ask yourself if this is truly what you want. Ask yourself if it adds to your life or takes away from it. And if the answer is anything other than a resounding yes, let it go. Your peace is worth more than someone else's expectations. Your time is worth more than empty conversations. Your energy is worth more than being in places that do not make you feel good. Choose where you go wisely. Choose who you give your time to carefully. Choose to live in a way that brings you joy, fulfillment, and freedom. Because at the end of the day, this life is yours, and you deserve to live it in peace.